Well, good day, viewers, and welcome to Noel's Garden Tractors and Firewood. And here we have the weather that's going on for today. We're at 4 degrees Celsius, and we got some rain coming down. And it's supposed to be 3 degrees, I guess. But anyway, temperature is going to go down. You can see down at the bottom there, it's going to be minus 9 degrees Celsius tonight. So we got a whole mixed bag of stuff for next week here by the looks of it. And some days kind of hovering around the freezing mark. So we got flurries and we got flurries, periods of snow or rain, and then flurries and periods of snow and periods of snow and chance of flurries and chance of flurries, cloudy, and then back to chance of flurries and flurries. So there you go. Mess is coming. So the lowest temperature looks to be minus 17. It's kind of getting down there on Tuesday night. So anyway, oh well, spring is coming, right? That's for sure. South wind at 6 kilometers an hour, so fairly calm out. Yeah, so spring is coming. So, well, I'll get back to you here in a second. We'll do a little update on the wood here. So, along there, so right here is 4 feet from the floor. So I got a little tiny bit above, and there's a few that are a little bit below. So today is the 16th of January. So I just do this just for entertainment and fun. Just to see now, is that last 4 feet of wood going to last until January 31st? So we started off right at the ceiling and burnt all that already. That 4 feet down to there is gone. And that means that spring is coming. So that's a good thing. And our hunks and trunks pile is pretty well done. Another couple of days and it'll be gone, I'd say. All right, so we get on to something else here in a minute. So I just want to thank all my new subscribers that I've gotten since last Friday. Holy cats, we had some influx of subscribers. I think it's about 370 subscribers, I think, about there, maybe 350, 360, I forget now, but a lot of subscribers within a few days. Come on, so thank you very much for subscribing, and I thank all the previous subscribers from way back, probably 2 years ago, that started subscribing. I have to thank all them people too. That's great. And I'm going to show you a couple of different things. Well, we're going to do a little bit of electric wood splitting here today. So this is kind of another test for this Rode mic to see how it sounds with the wood splitter running. So anyway, now most of you may know, and a lot of you don't know because you're new subscribers, but I'm kind of strange. I like fixing things, and I hate throwing anything out. And as you can see by my messy garage, I keep everything. Everything is kept. You just never know what you're going to need. So it could even be just a little piece of thin wire that's only about 2 inches long. I'll keep it. Look at all the junk down there. Holy cats. Anyway, so there's things that I do here that most people I fix. I should say there's things I fix here that most people would normally just throw out. Just go get another one. And that's fine, whatever you want to do. But I like fixing stuff. So here we have an ice scraper. Now this ice scraper I've had for probably over 30 years. And the other day it broke. So I was gonna see if I could get this off of here and mount it on here. But anyway, the wife seems to go through ice scrapers once. She gets a new ice scraper probably once every year, every 2 years. Like I say, I've had this one for over 30 years. And it's just these old things. You remember seeing them in the service station stores where they'd be selling them, and they were just a cheap ice scraper, but they worked great. And anyway, so this one broke on me. Now I don't know if I can show you. Yeah, there it is. There, maybe you can see. No, you can't. No. Where it scraped here on this part, the scraping part, there's a chunk out of it here. So, like I say, I was going to try and replace the end, but anyway, I found a piece of metal or a piece of plastic, so I mounted that piece of plastic on there. Some screws and some goop and some nice black paint, and there you go. See if I can get it out of here. There we go. Yeah, some screws in it, and I don't know if I can show you the piece that's knocked out of it here, maybe. Yeah, you can see it there. Anyway, so I kind of cut a new edge on that piece of plastic I put on there. Now, whether this will work or not, I have no idea. It may not. But, and I couldn't test it anyway because we've been in a January thaw for the last 3 or 4 days, so there was no ice to scrape. So I'm going to go over here now. Okay, yeah, right there. So if I'll get over this way. And I'll have to put the zoom on you just for a second. Boink. See that there control there? That one, I took that piece of plastic off of that control. That's an electronic ignition system for my propane pulse, Lennox pulse furnace. That's right there that you can't really see. But anyway, that's where I got the plastic from. And I keep those old controls. I tend to try and fix them, and sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Like I say, I like fixing stuff, so sometimes with them kind of controls, they have relays in them. So the relay gets stuck or the points get corroded or something. So I have fixed many of those kinds of controls by just drilling a small hole in it and putting some WD-40 in them, and that fixes them right up. The other thing that goes bad on them is where the wires, on the board, where the wires go through the board. Let's see now, the wires go through the board, and there's solder all the way around them. And there's a million of them little wires. Sometimes the wire will come loose in the solder, and then, of course, it won't work. So I fixed many of those kind of circuit boards by just touching up the solder in them. So anyway, like I say, most people just throw that stuff out. But I tend to want to fix it, or try to fix it. My thinking is it's broke, so I can't make it any broker. Anyway, we'll have to see if this works or not. It might be supposed to get snow tonight, so we'll have to see if that'll work or not. I can still sharpen up the edge here if I need to. So, yeah, I've still got the zoom on. Like, it'd be nice if they had a flashing light on the screen to let you know that the zoom is on. Anyway, All right, so that's what I kind of do with the new subscribers. I got nothing perfect here. There's no things that are perfect. So I'm just a I'm just a backyard kind of a fellow that tries to fix things and doesn't have any education in anything. So, well, I should say I kind of know propane stuff somewhat, but anyway, that's what I did for a living. I worked at propane, delivering propane and fixing appliances and installing appliances and all that kind of stuff. So, and I've forgotten a lot of that stuff because I haven't done it for a few years. So, and things have changed drastically in the appliance business. It's just not a propane appliance anymore. It's an electric appliance that might happen to have propane system in it. Anyway, so there we go. So I'm going to move on to what I was planning to do here. I'm going to show you just a couple of things. Right over here on the electric wood splitter today. This is what we're going to try and do, is split that log and split that log. So no sense in them sitting there. I might as well burn them, I guess. And we're going to use the 4-way wedge, the modified one that I did. So here's another thing I do. I always try and modify things to make things better. And this worked pretty good, actually. All I did was added these wings on at about the same angle as this, so, and back a little bit, so this would start first and kind of break it, and then this would kind of help finish it. But because of this being so wide at the back, by the time the wood gets out here, there's not very much wood left here to, it just didn't seem to want to split back there, or it was too wide, and it would tend to miss this wing. So this helps it greatly. And for so far, I haven't had any trouble trying to push the ram and push the wood through there. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do today, and we're going to do a little bit of kindling. Now, the other thing I did, of course, the new subscribers wouldn't know, is because they just come on last week. So I did mount a switch in here, so I can turn the motor on and leave it on, and I can just operate the hydraulics here. But, and there's a big but here, you can't leave it running without the hydraulics moving. It'll overheat, and that's not good. So you got to be careful when you're doing that. So, and this is still hooked up here, so I can still use it the way it's supposed to be used. But it's kind of neat having that for doing kindling. All right, so I'll stop the rambling and going on foolish like I normally do, and we'll get set up here for some wood splitting. All right, we'll get at the wood splitting here now. The first thing we're going to do is do the kindling here. So I just got three pieces like that here, and so we'll turn on the switch, and that will keep the motor running. Now, doing kindling, you could take this off. This just comes off. It's just got a bolt there, and you just whip it off just like that. It's not a hard thing to get off or put on. So we'll try that with it off just for fun. All right, so I turn the switch on. Now, remember, I have to make sure I have the ram moving at all times as much as I can. But you can go about 5 seconds, and that's about as long as you can go without having the ram moving. So, got to remember that. All right, away we go here. There, just like that. A bunch of kindling made. And bits and pieces. But like I say, it's just a matter of keeping the ram moving all the time so that the oil doesn't heat up inside it. All right, so now what we'll do is put this on. I just have this little bolt in here to kind of help keep it from moving around a bit. Makes it a little bit more solid. All right, now I got to get this bench cleaned off anyway, so it's time to get this wood split. And I'm going to hopefully start taking one of them motors apart just to see if there's something wrong or if I can fix it or not. There, now I'll give you a little story as to why I have this here. Sometimes this wood, when it gets dry, it can snap apart and it just goes kabang. And I've had pieces snap from here and go over and hit Sir Dave's favorite tractor cab. And we don't want that. Holy cats, what? Yeah, but it could go kabang, so. And that's why they have the machine built like this, so you have to stand back. It'll go bang this way too. And it does. All right, let's see how this goes. More bits and pieces. It's great having this bucket here from the other loader. Yeah, I'm going to have lots of stuff for starting fires here. Yeah, just like that. Not the best piece of wood, but it'll burn. It'll burn, that's for sure. Something with these, if you have one of these, you have to remember that there's an air vent right on the back here that has to be open in order for it to work properly. If it's not open, eventually you're going to damage something. So I keep it open about 3 turns, and the plastic thing here has little wings on it so you can turn it, and normally they get broke off because of the wood coming past it. So it's not a big deal. You just kind of break them off and leave it where it is there. I have that out maybe, what? Yeah, 2 turns, so that's where I've always had it anyway, so. And usually I have a piece of tape over it here because you're getting right into the opening where that screw is there. So I usually put a piece of tape over and down to help keep the dirt and the dust from getting down into that, but I guess I got to replace that somehow. All right, let's see if the other one will split. This one could be kind of nasty. Nasty one. Which is the best way? Yeah, right there like that maybe. All right, I might have to leave that out. Well, let's go like that and see if it'll break it up. I don't know if my block will fit. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. There now. Nothing to it. Yeah, I'll have to resplit this fella. Let's see what it does like that. There now. So it's not the best wood in the world, but it splits it. Boy, there's some machine, these electric splitters. They work great. And only 5 tons. You know, you see the people with the big splitters that are 30 and 40 tons. I guess, depending on what you're doing, I guess you might need it. But anything I've ever done with these electric splitters, it's a split anything that I put into it. Now, if you happen to get stuck, well, then you have to hit it off, of course. Well, then you turn it, or you flip it, or you don't take as much. It always splits. So there we go. That's another little video on stuff that I do. I got more stuff to add to my bits and pieces pile here. Yeah. Anyway, gray splitter, we've had that, or I've had that, I guess, 5, 6 years. Forget how long, but I bought it used. I paid $200 for it used 5, 6 years ago. There was a sticker on here, and it was still on there. So whoever bought it, he only used it maybe twice, and like I say, the sticker was still on here. It was a piece of something inside a plastic that was taped onto here, and it wasn't even hardly scratched. So I've had great luck with this, and my son also has one. It was so good he figured he needed one, so he went and he bought one, a new one. And warranty-wise, unbelievable warranty. You get a hold of them. I had trouble with this switch, and my son got a hold of them, and we wanted to buy switches, so they said they would send one for here, and then he said he wanted one for his, so they said, okay, we'll send one for you too. There was no charge for the switches. There was no charge for the shipping. And when the package came, there was 4 switches in it instead of 2. You know how you can't get any better warranty than that. And this was long out of warranty, and his was just barely over the 2-year limit. So anyway, great people to deal with. They're just a great machine. And you can find them on the used marketplace. There's always one for sale. And they're anywhere from 150 to 350. I seen one today of 350, I think. Now, you could go to the store and buy a new one for almost a 350. 400, 450, you could get a brand new one. So if you can find one for $2 or $2.50, it's a good deal as far as I'm concerned. All right, so more rambling and going on foolish, so that's going to be good for now. Hopefully we'll see too as to how this mic works with the splitter running. So, all right, have a great day wherever you're at and whatever you're doing, and we'll chat with you again. So I'm back again, like I usually do sometimes. I get the video done, and then I all of a sudden think of something. So I'm going to do a moisture test on some of that wood. And the other thing I want to do, I don't know if I did it or not in the video there, was when I had this running, I don't know if I was speaking or not at the same time in any part of that video. So I'm going to do that just to see what happens with the noise, if there is any. So I'll just do that now. So I don't normally talk, I guess, when I got this going, because that's just the way it is. You're doing your work and you're not speaking of it. So we'll see how that sounds. Okay, so we'll take some of this wood here and try it. I'm kind of thinking that it's super dry. Let's see what we got here. That would be about the most center spot right there. Oh, look at that, it's not that dry. 21.7 it says. If you can see that or not, but I'll try and get you up into there, somewhere around there like that. 21.7. All right, we'll try another piece. I have no idea what kind of wood it is. I'm not very good at figuring out what species of wood is, what types I should say or whatever. Yeah, that's 23.1, so it's kind of bouncing around, I guess. 23.4. Anyway, it's not far from being dry, that's for sure. It certainly feels and looks dry, but I guess it's not as dry as I thought. And that one there is 18.1. I know one thing. When I put it in the fire, it'll dry out. All right, I think that's enough. And probably have drove you crazy enough for now. So, again, thanks very much for subscribing, all the people, and all the people who in the past who have subscribed. And we're going to stop now, and so have a great day wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. Goodbye now.